And now things start getting really interesting. I see pocket aces on the button again, 1 limper, hijack raises to 15, cut off 3 bets to 50, I 4 bet to $120, and out of nowhere, a Japanese guy that seemed like a good player, and I already see him in many live streams at the lodge, 5 bets for $275. Am I dreaming here? Probably yes, because Open Raiser thinks that's not enough. He's 6 bets all in. Oh man. I'm all in. What's up everybody? Just got out of my first meal of the day. Today is gonna be our last session at the Large Card Club. Love this place. Now that this episode is out, there's already plenty of episodes there and you can see how things went. Today I am more grateful than usual, and it's not because I won yesterday or because of anything like that, but it's because I have so much to thank, so much to be happy about it, and hopefully you have too. Some days you lose, some days you win. Poker is a game that is brutal sometimes and amazing others. And I feel like having perspective and knowing where to look when you are in a good moment and when you are in a bad moment is not only in the bad moments that you gotta have perspective, In good moments, you also should have your feet on the ground, like be humble and never think you are the shit and you are the best or you are amazing or you are unbeatable, because none of us are. And today's gonna be the last session. I honestly don't know what I'm gonna play. Soon I'm gonna be heading on to Vegas. And another thing that happened, the owner of the Airbnb came to talk to me for me to help him with poker. And then I spoke to him normally, but like it's interesting how some things that for us is usual, like for regular people is not, and that added up even more perspective for me. And now we are here. Let me show you. And I really don't know what we're gonna play. I'm gonna see what's the best option to make a good content for you. And let's go. What's up everybody? Another day at the Lodge Card Club. This is my 8th session in this club. I got an Airbnb in Round Rock for 9 days, and soon I'm gonna be heading on to Vegas. They usually have way more tables of 1-2 and 1-3 than 2-5. Sometimes they don't have 2-5 and they have 5-10, but 5-10 in Texas plays really big. So today I decided to play 1-3 again, and this is the session you're about to watch. I buy in for 1,000, which is the max at this game. One of my first hands, I see queens in the small blind. There's one limper before me, button raises to 15, and here I'm gonna 3-bet for sure. This is the advised range in the small blind versus open raise from the button. As you can see, most of the range advises you to 3-bet, but you could flat a hand like queens. You should mostly 3-bet, but you could also call. And the sizing GTO Wizard advises, if when button open raises 2.5x, you can 3-bet 11, that means you can 3-bet a little more than 4x what he makes. So as the button made 15 after a limper, the sizing I decided to use was $70, and I would use the same sizing if I had ace 4 suited, ace 3 suited, ace deuce suited, ace 5 suited. All the hands in my range that I decided to 3-bet, I would 3-bet the same sizing. So here I 3-bet queens for $70, he folds and we win the first hand. This hand I'm in the cutoff with queen jack offsuit, one limper before me, I raise to 16, 4 players call, which is not ideal with a hand like mine. We go 5 ways to the flop, which I make top pair. They check to me and I see bet half pot to $40. Small blind and low jack call, both players out of position versus me. There is a relevant chance I'm already losing here, especially when the king comes on the turn. They check to me and I decide to check back. And now the river is pretty interesting. I have 2 pair, but flush draw gets there, and also a straight draw with the 10. Now small blind leads $75, cutoff folds, and now I'm the last one to act. I gotta call 75 for a pot that has 275. For this call to be profitable, I gotta be right little more than 21% of the times. This is the percentage of the time my call has to be good, and honestly I'm not quite sure if it is. The guy who made this bet seems to be a good player. I played with him a couple times and he was pretty solid. So pretty close spot. I'm not quite sure if he would be bluffing here, especially with this sizing. It looks a lot like a thin value bet to him. I also put into account that he was a good player, so he could have some bluffs in his range. So I call. He shows 10 jack of clubs. and wins the hand. I move to the city in my right and buying for 125 to go back to 1000. 30 minutes later, I change to another 1-3 table. First relevant hand in this table, I get pocket aces on the butt. Under the gun raises to 10. Cutoff calls and I definitely gonna 3-bet here. I decided to make $40 because I was pretty sure they would call me pretty often. Even if I made a sizing of 4x. They both call. We go 3 ways to the flop, which is a very safe one. Jack 4-6 with 2 diamonds. I'm losing mostly to sets, like set of 4s and 6s, which will be very rare. Set of jacks are honestly not in their range. So when they both check to me, I'm gonna value bet. So I decide to bet half pot here. Under the gun calls, cutoff calls, and then the 3 of us see a 10 of diamonds in the turn. At least I have the ace of diamonds, but this is definitely not a good card. There are many flush draws in their ranges. Also jack 10, so they would make top 2 pair. So I'm losing to a lot of combinations now. Under the gun checks, but cutoff leads 125. That's a clear call for me. I gotta call 125 for a pot that has 444 and I'm in position with a deep stack. So there are a lot of implied odds of me hitting my flush in the river and extracting value from them. So that's what I do. I call. Under the gun folds and the river doesn't help. A 8 of hearts. He bets 200 and here my aces are basically a bluff catcher. I'm only beating bluffs and I don't see many bluffs in his range by the way he played. Check calling flop and then leading turn with a small bet and leading river with a small bet as well. I have the ace of diamonds, which would be a great bluff for him if he had, which he doesn't have because I do. So I decide to fold. He said it was a good fold. Hopefully he's gonna show it for the vlog, which he doesn't. I buy in for more to go back to 1000. Next hand, I'm in the big blind with pocket queens. Under the gun straddle 6. +1 raises 20. Middle position and cutoff calls. I'm definitely gonna 3-bet here. I 3-bet to 90. Middle position calls, cutoff calls, and we go 3 ways to a flop in position that comes ace 7-8 with 2 spades. I have the queen of spades. Definitely not a great flop, especially when hijack leads all in for $220. Cutoff calls, and there's nothing I can do here besides folding.
Running it twice!
And their showdown was amazing, especially hijack's showdown. Hijack shows queen 5 of diamonds. Remember, the flop was ace 7-8 with 2 spades. So he had pretty much nothing versus the ace jack suited from the cutoff. But he got there, making trips in the second board and chopping the pot. Next hand, I'm in the middle position with 10-9 suited, 2 limpers before me. I raise to 20, won't mind if everybody folds and I win the hand. But that's not what happens. 4 players call. We go 5 ways to the flop, which is one where we hit middle pair in a 10 high flush draw. We have a lot of equity, especially if we were playing a heads up pot, which we're not. We're playing 5-handed, so there could be someone with a bigger flush than I have and other person with a bigger pair, so I gotta be aware of that. But I definitely gonna keep betting. I bet $85, around 80% of the pot. Later only button calls, which is a solid player. He's actually the same player from last episode that I showed when he was leaving the table and that he was a good player. The turn is pretty interesting. A king of hearts. Now it makes it less likely for him to have a king, and I would be losing for a king either way, so that's a good turn in my opinion. But as of right now, I have only a pair of 9s and we're playing so deep. I rather control the pot and check, and I allow him to bet some bluffs instead of betting for value. So that's what I do. I check. And that's half pot, $135. I decide to call and evaluate the river, which is a great one. A 6 of diamonds. Now I'm losing mostly to bigger flushes than mine, which are unlikely but possible. And here, a big mistake would be not leading for value. He can definitely call me with hands like King X, even 9X. I decide to not get too greedy, and I bet $255. So I'm betting like little less than half pot. He snap calls. I show my hand, and it's good.
That was huge though.
The flop. Alright guys, let me show you something I really like here at the lodge. There's the part that you just get coffee and whatever you want. There are drinks. There is usually food that you just choose your food and you pay here when there's no one. Otherwise you just leave it with someone right there. And this part I also loved it, that they just leave it available, everything here, so you just come pick up anything you want, like water, sodas, and etc. And it's just like you do it yourself and then come back to the table, you know, like anytime you want. I really like that freedom, independence to do that. Here's the room, and yeah, loved the lodge. Highly recommend you guys to come here, check it out. And that's it. Winning little more than $100 so far, and now things start getting really interesting. I see pocket aces on the button again, one limper, hijack raises to 15, cut off 3 bets to 50, but I'm not gonna make it big this time. I 4-bet to $120, and out of nowhere, a Japanese guy that seemed like a good player, and I already see him in many live streams at the lodge, 5 bets for $275. Am I dreaming here? Probably yes, because Open Razor thinks that's not enough. He's 6 bets all in. Oh man. I don't remember myself being in a 6-bet pot with pocket aces with the action on me.
Let me see your stack, please, bro.
Big blind's stack is 725, so he has like 450 more behind. I believe calling or shoving would pretty much mean the same, so I decided to put him all in for 725. He folds. The guy who's 6 bets shove all in had kings. Classical aces versus kings, and let's see how it goes.
Oh my god. What'd you have? Did you have a hand? Set? Set of 10. Oh.
No king or straight or flush in the board, and we win the hand. Now we're winning a pretty relevant amount of more than $1,000 in like 3 hours of game. The next hand I see 3-4 suited on the big blind. Under the gun raises to $15. Under the gun was Caleb, who was a very nice guy, and I believe his range is gonna be pretty tight from the under the gun. He wasn't playing too many hands. 2 players call, and here I'm just gonna complete and see a flop against other 3 players. The flop was great, 2, 6, queen with 2 clubs. I got a gut shot, flush draw, and I have 1 out for the straight flush. I check, but I'm definitely gonna check raise if someone bets. And that's what Caleb does. He bets $30, button calls. And here, if I decide to check raise, I wanna make hands like a bigger flush draw than mine to fold. So I cannot check raise small. I have to check raise really big to make small flush draws, but flush draws that are still bigger than mine to fold. So I check raise to $150, hoping to find a fold, which is not what happens. Caleb calls, while button decides to shove all in for $590, and now it would be too insane for me to call here. They both have flush draws in the range, and against a flush draw, I would be in a terrible shape.
I can't.
Caleb calls and shows 10-9 of clubs, so he had exactly the hand that I wanted to fold, and that's why I made such a big check raise, which he didn't. And in the end, he hits his flush and wins more than $1,300 pot. The next hand is versus a guy that plays a lot at the lodge live stream. He opened raise pre-flop and I called on the big blind. Flop came queen 7-9 with 2 spades. I checked, he bet and I called. Turn was a jack of clubs. Now there are 2 flush draws in the board. I check. He bets $50, and of course I'm gonna check raise. He was playing like a $600, $700 stack, so I didn't need it to make it that big. So I check raise to 175. He calls. River was pretty nice, not the best one, but pretty nice. A 7 of hearts. Now I'm losing for aces and kings that he has in his range, but I'm beating many more combinations of hands, so I'm definitely gonna bet for value. He has like 400 left in his stack, and I want those chips, so I'm gonna put him all in.
All in.
He thinks for a long while, and at the end, he decides to call. I show my hand, he shows a queen, and we win this hand. Winning $1,400 so far, playing for like 5 to 6 hours. In this next hand, I see Queen Jack offsuit from the low jack. I open raise to 15, cut off and big blind call. We go through ace to the flop, which comes Jack 3 5 with 2 hearts. Because I have the Queen of Hearts, I decide to check to protect my checking range and also set a trap for someone who decides to bluff. Cut off goes all in for 125. Big blind folds. I snap call. He already understands he's in a bad shape. Turns a 3 of diamonds. River is an ace of diamonds. Yes! He quickly shows 4 deuce of diamonds, having open ender in the flop and getting there and winning the hand. Next hand I see ace queen offsuit from the big blind, 1 limper, low jack raises to 15, 2 callers. I'm definitely gonna 3-bet here from the small blind. We're playing really deep and I don't want to give them a good price, especially with my hand. Ace queen offsuit doesn't develop so well post flop. I make it $90, cut off and button call, so 3 players see the flop, which comes an amazing one. Ace king 4 with 2 hearts. I'm losing only to ace 4 suited and 4s, so I will rarely be losing here. I'm definitely gonna bet for value, targeting flush draws and ace-x hands worse than mine. I see bet something like 2/3 of the pot. Only cut off calls. We're playing really deep. Turns a really safe one, a 8 of diamonds. I'm definitely gonna keep betting here. The question is how much. This is definitely not an easy spot, especially because we're playing really deep, but I will really rarely be losing here. So I think betting is the best option, and I decide to make 2/3 again. He folds, and we win the hand. The next hand was really interesting versus a player that seemed to be really good. I'm in the middle position with pocket kings, under the gun straddle 6. I open raise to 20, cut off 3 bets to 65, small blind calls 65, which is great. I'm definitely gonna 4-bet here. This Japanese had like 3,000 in his stack, and I had 2,500, and he was in position versus me, so I should be aware of that and careful about not making such a good price for him to call in position. So I 4-bet to $265. Only Japanese guy in the cutoff calls. We go heads up to the flop, which is a pretty safe one for now. 5-4 deuce with 2 hearts. I'm gonna still be winning most of the times here, so I'm definitely gonna keep betting. And I wanna extract value from pocket pairs that he has many in his range. And those pocket pairs would be an over pair now, so they would definitely call at least one c-bet. So instead of c-betting small, I decide to make 2/3 of the pot. Cutoff calls. Turn is great, a 9 of diamonds. The only hand that actually hits this turn would be 9s, but if he has 9s, congrats, I'm gonna keep betting. I should be really thoughtful about this sizing. I don't either want to make it too big or too small. I decide to go with around half pot. I make $650. He thanks for a long while and decides to fold. Afterwards, he said he had pocket 8s, and it makes sense. I told him I had kings, stack my chips, and finish the last session I played at the Lodge Card Club, winning $1,575.
Well, guys, just finished our last session here in Texas. Tomorrow we're heading on to Vegas. I'm really excited about that. Love Texas, love Dallas, love the Lodge, loved Round Rock, and had great experiences here. Met great people. Now we're heading on to Vegas, so the next episodes will be in Vegas. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and see you next time.
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe to the channel. The mission of this channel is helping you become a better poker player, and see you next time.